what we're going to do is we're going to take a look in the Siddur at the beginning of the prayers in Shacharit. There's all kinds of wonderful things that we can learn through looking at the brachas that we say. So there are two sets of brachas that are recited. I would like to go through both of them. Okay, so what we've got is like this. We've got two sets of brachot. The first set of brachot are called Birkat HaTorah. The second set are called Birkat HaShachar. So we've got two sets of brachos which are supposed to be recited in the morning before, it's like the beginning of davening. Birkat HaTorah is the beginning of davening. Birkat HaShachar is really the beginning of the formal part of davening. So just take a look. I'd like to take a look and work our way through them, because there's very, very beautiful things to learn over here. Very beautiful ideas that hopefully will enhance our understanding of what's going on. So if everybody's got the same Siddur, which...
No, I don't.
Except for you. Somebody's always got to be an individual.
Yes.
Good. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. We're gonna start from page number 14 in the Art Scroll Siddur. Rabbi said, you get up in the morning and you wash your hands. And then you make a bracha of al natilat yadayim. I'm not gonna go through the order of what's going on over here. I'm just going to go through the concepts of what it is that we're saying. So al natilat yadayim, the bracha of al natilat yadayim is a bracha that you might be familiar with, because it's a bracha that you recite when you just before you eat bread. That much is pretty much easy.
Can you do other things before you wash your hands, or is it like you pretty much have to?
You really need to wash your hands straight away. Mm-hmm. That's really what you need to do.
You're allowed to speak, or like
to speak.
Besides my daddy.
Why would you want to speak so early in the morning? And who's going to listen to you?
Probably nobody.
I mean, you're in your
what
room.
Happens if the water is a distance of like 20, 30 feet away, like 2 or 3 rooms?
You have to walk to like a different room.
You have to get off the bed without you can't not touch the bed. Then you've got to get onto the floor and you have to crawl your way along, right?
Open the door with your head.
Through no, you have to go through the cat flap. Through the dirty laundry. And then you go up into the attic, and then come down the side of the house.
What happens if you don't have an attic?
It's a problem. I'm not sure how this can be done, actually. The truth of the matter is that the water is supposed to be close to you, but if it's not, there is a din that a house is considered to be like one immediate area. And it's okay to go and wander off and wash your hands, but you should not try not to touch anything on the way.
I have a question. Let's say, for example, you leave water on the side of the bed with the pan, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens if overnight, Tumah doesn't go inside the water, or?
No, it's okay to do that. You should just don't leave it under your bed.
Yeah, under the bed.
Right. So, but if you leave it, it's okay.
Like on the table.
The Gemara says like this, that you shouldn't leave liquids uncovered overnight. The Gemara explains because there was a problem in those days of snakes, and if snakes would spit its venom into the liquid, then that's not it's not a great thing to be drinking or using afterwards. The Tosfos already explained that that's not applicable in our days anymore, so you don't have to be concerned about leaving it, just leaving it by the side of your bed. What I do recommend is that you remember that it's there, because if you get out of bed and stick your foot in it, that's not really what you're supposed to be washing. You're supposed to be washing your hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When somebody washes their hands, why do they like that? Or they do like this really weird hand movement.
When
they wash their hands?
When they wash their hands, when you wash your hands for natilat yadayim, to eat bread, so you're supposed to actually hold your hands up, and the water is supposed to drip down, and you're supposed to hold your right hand a little bit higher than your left hand, and then you make the bracha. When you wash your hands in the morning for getting out of bed, right, you're supposed to wash your hands with your hands pointing downwards. Right, so let the spiritual impurity drip off. However,
just trying to see it works.
I mean, if you want, we can have a practical. We could all get back into bed and and then at some point, if anybody wakes up, we could wash our hands, I suppose, huh? Too much hard work going back to bed. You'll just sleep over here. Okay. So we recite the bracha natilat yadayim, and then there's a bracha that's recited afterwards, which is actually the bracha that is recited when you come out of the bathroom. Yeah.
Another question, sorry.
That's okay.
What's the point of the vessel? Like, why can't you just wash under the faucet?
I'm not 100% sure. There's a concept within certain moments when you wash your hands. So, for example, when you wash your hands in the morning, and when you wash your hands for eating bread, that there has to be something called what's called halachically koach gavra. Koach gavra means that it's water that you are pouring over your hands, and not water that's coming out from somewhere else, right? Which is why washing your hands just with a faucet is a bit of a problem. And that's why you need to pour it into something and then use that something to pour over your hands.
Does the basin that you pour in matter at all? Like you have it?
Well, yes, it matters, because if you don't have it, then the floor's going to get all wet.
Besides that.
No, you can pour it into anything. You just
Okay.
pour the water out though afterwards. You've got to be sure that you tip it out into the sink or something. That it don't use it for anything. The water that you use to wash your hands, especially in the morning, that's water that's got spiritual impurity on it. So you shouldn't use it. But of course, we're all focusing on the wrong detail, which is fine. It's not very often that anyone focuses at all in this room. So even if it's on the wrong detail, I'll take whatever there is, really, whatever focus there is.
And so, can you speak also, or no? Like you said, you should try to do it right away.
I mean, you
but
should.
Is it a big deal if you like?
Well, if
No.
you speak, you're gonna delay the whole process of washing hands, and they might forget, they might touch something by accident, and then it's best just to not talk and just do it.
Do it right away.
Does touching something include like doorknobs or keys or something?
I mean, presumably it does. I've never really thought about it. I mean, your hands.
I was told it's best to leave the door so it's wide open, so you can just use your elbow. But obviously, we live in a dorm; it's really impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, your elbow is contaminated too, right? It's not like just.
No, it comes out at the end of your fingertips. It's okay. You can elbow your roommate in the face,
Oh,
even if you haven't washed your hands yet. That's
I'll be
okay.
right back.
Yeah.
Why does it come in this sit? It comes really weirdly, in the sense that you say you do it on you put on your sit, you do,
Yeah.
you do your talus,
I
and then you do tefillin, and then you do
Yeah.
So why then?
I must admit that you'll see in different Sidurim different orders to what's going on. Personally, to me, it makes more sense that you get up in the morning and you wash your hands and you go to the bathroom and then you wash your hands again and you make the brachas, and then when you get to shul, you can start the brachas of Birchas Shachar, which are the brachas that are attached to davening. Otherwise, you got it like that. I don't know. Don't ask me about the orders. Just you'll find that in different Sidurim there are different orders. That this order doesn't. I find it a little bit illogical as well, actually.
Supposed to go, when you get into shul, you're supposed to wash your hands.
I mean, look, you're supposed to wash your hands when you wake up in the morning, right?
And then when you also arrive to prayer.
Yeah.
You're supposed to.
So, yeah, you're supposed to wash your hands before you daven.
So then how can you when you've got tefillin?
Oh, so you before. Right. Hey, we're not getting involved in the order over here. You should wash your hands before you put tefillin on. Right? A lot of people put on their tefillin when they get to shul.
Yeah.
So you can wash your hands before you go into shul, and then you can put on your tefillin. If you put on your tefillin outside of shul, there is an opinion that you should go into shul wearing your tefillin, right? You should be ready already. So then, I don't know, work out a system of washing your hands before you put your tefillin on, or if you put on your tefillin, some people put on the tefillin before they leave to go to shul at all, whilst they're still at home.
Surely it's wasted bracha if you say a shiyatz and you haven't relieved yourself.
Okay, so again, when you get up in the morning, most people need to go to the bathroom. That's like a natural repercussion of having been asleep for the night, is that you have to go to the bathroom, and that means that when you go to the bathroom, you come out and you wash your hands, you're then ready to say Asher Yotza anyway, which means it's a perfectly natural, logical system. If a person has not been to the bathroom, then he should wait until he goes to the bathroom in order to say the bracha of Asher Yotza. Right? Now, what I want to do is I want to talk about. Let's have a look at the bracha of Asher Yotza, because it's a fascinating bracha. It really is a word of introduction. Going to the bathroom is the most physical thing that you will do in your entire day. It is the least spiritual experience that you will have. I mean, by definition, going to the bathroom means that, your body, you've eaten whatever you've eaten and your body has absorbed whatever it needs to absorb, and then whatever it doesn't need is going to be sent out of the body, and that's what going to the bathroom is. However, there's a bracha that's recited over the going to the bathroom, which gives us an indication that even something as mundane as going to the bathroom has the ability to connect us to God. And everything in Judaism can connect us back to God, so long as we understand and appreciate what we're doing. So we say like this, it's a very beautiful bracha. We say, Asher yotza es adam b'chochma, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created us with wisdom. Uva voy nekavim, he created us with all different kinds of orify, chalululim, galui v'yadu lifnei chisei chvoidecha, she'im yipoteach echad mehem, or yisatem echad mehem, that if one of these holes in our bodies, one of these orify in our bodies would close up if it was supposed to be open, or be open if it was supposed to be closed up, it would be impossible to stand in front of you. Now, I mean, it really is a very, very obvious, very simple bracha. It really is, right? Everybody who's ever suffered, anybody who's ever suffered from diarrhea, right? What's called shulshul over here, which when I first came to Israel, that was like a state of being for the first 6 months I was here. It was it was just we lived off of Imodium. It was you really don't want to know. You really don't. I think at some point my body just got used to the food over here, and then of course I went home for Pesach, and then I got messed up over there until I got used to it, and I came back again. Whatever, you don't want to know about this, but shul is one of those interesting words in Hebrew. There are words in Hebrew that they follow one on each other, right? So gal, what is a gal? Don't all shout at once. A wheel, right? Why is a wheel? Because a wheel goes around and around. So you hear gal. Shil is because you keep going back to the bathroom. It's just something that you got to keep doing. Anybody who's ever suffered from shil, you'll know just how debilitating it really is. Right? If you've got a bad case of shil, you can't do anything. You can't function because every few minutes you have to rush back to the bathroom again.
What about the opposite?
Yeah, that's what it says over here, right? I mean, it says that if something that's supposed to be open is closed, or something that's closed is supposed to be open, you can't do what you're supposed to do. Somebody who suffers from a severe case of constipation is in as bad a shape as somebody who's got a bad case of shilshul. It's something that's terrible. It really is. Yeah.
If that's the case, then should you be put? If you've got, let's say you wake up with a very bad stomach, should you put on the pillow?
No. If your stomach is revolting, like the rest of you, right? if your stomach is in a state of rebellion, then you should not be putting on tefillin, because you know that you put your tefillin on in a few minutes you'll have to rush to go to the toilet again, right? And then you'll come out and put them on again, and then you have to go back again. You have to wait until you're well enough to be able to get your tefillin on and to daven a little bit without having to run.
Should you still be going to shachrit?
Should you still be going to shachrit? I think the answer is like this. If you really don't feel well enough, then no, you shouldn't. If you feel well enough, I tell you what, there's another dimension over here. Unfortunately, sometimes when people are suffering from things like diarrhea, so there's a certain kind of an aroma that follows them around. If you are aromatized, then you should not be going to shachrit, because it's a problem for the other people that are around you to pray whilst that smell lingers.
What happens if someone isn't aware that they're aromatized?
Then they've got other things to worry about. I think it will become reasonably clear rather quickly, actually, when he realizes that nobody's going anywhere near him. Maybe you're used to that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the person's used to it, or
maybe it's not. Yeah, but then he has to he has to think that maybe this is not a social issue of just not being able to make friends. Maybe it's maybe it's something else. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean I do know what to tell you, but we're being recorded, so we're not going to go down that particular route. But the bottom line is like this: our bodies are very delicate organisms, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu's created our bodies in a very delicate thing. It's an ecosystem. Everything needs to work properly. I always get great pleasure. I don't know what it's like outside of Israel, but here in Israel, when you go to the doctor, Depending, each doctor has their expertise, and very often over here in Israel, you'll see in the doctor's room a chart which will prove that whatever their expertise is, the whole body revolves around that. Right? So you've got the easy bits like your heart. So we'll tell you if your heart's not pumping, then if it's not working properly, then it will affect this. It will affect your eyesight. It will affect your hearing. It will affect your eye. But you've got, toe doctors who will, they'll tell you that if your toes are not working properly, then it affects your entire body. The emphasis, I think there's truth to all of it. I really do. Which means that our body needs to work in tandem, everything together. And it really is a very delicate system that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's put into place. And what we're doing over here is we're saying like this, very simple, that if our bodies don't function properly, then we are not going to be able to do what we're supposed to do.
You once told us a story about a bracha party or something.
About what?
About a bracha party with a girl that said Ashiyatz or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah. That I had a student once who had an emergency appendicitis in the middle of the year. And Baruch Hashem, they managed to yank it out before it blew up. But at the end of the year, she spoke. They had like an end of the year party, and she spoke, and she said something very, very. It was very, very, powerful. She said, first of all, she said she's never going to take the blessing of Asher Yotza for granted again. Right, and then she told everybody, don't wait for something to go wrong with your body before you appreciate what you've got. Mm-hmm. Which means the emphasis, we get up in the morning, or some of us get up in the morning. I'm not convinced about some of you, but you get up in the morning, and Baruch Hashem, your body functions. It's working. I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to do. But it's the most incredible chesed from God, and that's something we need to acknowledge. We need to recognize that. We really do. Which means that you should, when you say the bracha of Asher Yotza, be aware of what you're saying. That's really what it comes down to.
Let's say the sun wakes up midway through the morning or midway through the day.
I can't hear you. What?
Let's say the sun wakes up mid-morning or midday. Should they still see my Da'ani?
Yeah, for sure. Of course.
It's time limit.
No, you get up whenever you get up. Again, if you've got up in the morning and you went to daven and you've put in a whole morning's worth of studying Torah, Alex, then and then you go back to sleep. Right, you go to have a rest in the afternoon. When you wake up after you've had your rest, you don't say Modiani. You only say it once when you get up in the morning. But if you haven't said it yet at all, then yeah, you should say it for sure.
If you wake up before the sun rises,
absolutely, you should say it then as well.
And then you fall asleep before the sun rises again. So let's say sun rises at 6. You wake up at 4. Then you go to sleep again at 5.
Okay, so if you wake up, the first time you wake up, you imagine that you're going to be awake now for the rest of the day. Right. Then you would start your day in the normal way, Modiani, and then wash your hands and make the brachas, and then you get overwhelmed with tiredness. You think I'm just going to lie down for a few minutes, and you fall asleep again. So fine, when you wake up the next time, you don't say Modiani because you've done it already. But if you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you're going back to sleep, I don't know, you got to go to the bathroom or the phone rings, whatever it is, but you're going back to sleep, then no, don't say Modiani and just go back to sleep. Mm-hmm. If anybody wants to know, how to go back to sleep, so you just watch. I mean,
I was up since 5. Couldn't sleep.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Lag, very beautiful.
Still used to New York. Yeah.
When New York, you get up at 5 in the morning?
No, it's the time difference.
Ah.
Is it?
I'll try. I'll try that.
For a typical Asher Yotzer to say it immediately after you're done washing your hands from the bathroom, or should you wait till you're X amount of steps outside of the bathroom?
No, once you're outside of the bathroom, you're okay. If you can close the door, that's even better. But bathroom, just in general, bathrooms today are not as problematic as they used to be. Although over here in the dorm, perhaps they are. I guess it's got a lot to do with how many people are using it. But in the olden days, bathrooms were pretty
nasty.
Thank you. They were pretty nasty places. They were, you went outside, but even outside, it wasn't anything. It was really just a pit, and that's where people went to the bathroom, and then they, whatever. It wasn't very nice, right? There's a definite problem with a bathroom like that, because not only is there a problem of smells, there's a problem of wastage that's left as well. It's a problem to pray over there. It's a problem to be around there and to think Torah thoughts. The bathrooms that we have today are very hygienic. In theory, again, not necessarily in the dorm, but in theory, they're very hygienic places. And a person, you go to the bathroom in the toilet itself, and then everything is flushed away. Normally, it's clean. You've got ventilation, so it's less problematic. Which means standing right outside a toilet is normally not a problem, unless if there's a smell, then it's a problem, right?
When you say outside, do you mean there has to be a partition, or can it be like if the toilet's like in a corner and the sink or whatever is away from the corner and there's no door?
Gosh, I don't know what kind of toilets you've been using, but sounds like a very public toilet.
I was just describing the one here in the dorm, actually.
Okay. No, you should step outside of the area. I mean, there must be a door somewhere that takes you into the.
Yeah. No, it takes you into the bathroom, but I'm saying in terms of the relationship from the sink and the toilet.
Oh, just washing your hands?
You're supposed to say it after you wash your hands.
Yeah,
right?
no, wash your hands and then move outside.
Okay.
And then make the bracha outside.
Do you say the prayer when you wash your hands? Every time you wash your hands?
No, every time you go to the bathroom and you wash your hands, you need to say the prayer Asher Yotza. Aside from that, you shouldn't say it at all.
I'm saying the
Ana Tilat Yadayim, you only say Ana Tilat Yadayim for two things, right? One, for when you get up in the morning, right now, and the second time when you eat bread. So if you eat bread, if you eat bread with every meal, then you'll wash your hands 3 times and you'll say Ana Tilat Yadayim, and you'll eat the bread and then you'll bench afterwards, right? You'll say Birkat Hamazon. If you don't eat bread, some people don't eat bread from, they only eat bread on Shabbos, for example, so you wouldn't say the bracha Ana Tilat Yadayim, yeah.
Let's say, for example, you fall asleep at 9, and then you wake up at 12, and you're up. You dreamt and everything. Do you still say the bracha Ana Tilat Yadayim? Yeah.
You should get up in the morning. You should get up. Some people do that, right? They go to bed early, and they wake up. They wake up very early and they start learning. There's even something called Tikkun Chatzot, which is getting up for midnight and mourning over the destruction of the temple. It's a very powerful concept. And then afterwards, of sitting down and learning until the davening with the dawn. Right, so yeah, sure. If you finished your night's sleep, regardless of what time it is, then you need to start doing all of the regular things that you would do for getting up in the morning.
So if you sleep for 30 minutes, 40 minutes,
even then, 30 minutes is probably the minimum.
That's the minimum,
right? There are different opinions inside of halacha that stretch from 30 minutes to 2 hours, but you know what? Fine, you slept for 30 minutes and that's it. You're not going to sleep anymore. You've done your bit. Then you should, then you should treat that as if you. I had a question. My brother is a doctor. Every Jewish mother's dream. Every Jewish brother's nightmare, and of course when he was going through his training, so there were many weeks that he would work nights, which is an interesting halachic thing because working nights means that your day is now back to front. At what point do you get up, right? And what's called getting up, and what's called going to sleep, and what's called it was interesting halachic. Interesting halachic dilemmas over here about what exactly you're supposed to be doing and when you're supposed to be doing it. But in all events, that the bracha of Asher Yotza is a bracha that should be taken seriously. I mean, all brachas should be taken seriously, but just your awareness, you should be aware of the fact that Baruch Hashem, your body is working, and that that you should give thanks to God for the fact that it's functioning the way that it's supposed to function.
What about the opinion that your morning Asher Yatza should be put off until you start doing Shakrit? Do you know anything about it?
Again, there are different opinions, right? Here, like it says over here, right? Although many hold that the blessing Ana Tilat Yadayim should be recited immediately after the ritual of washing one's hand upon the rising, others customarily recited at this point, which is a little bit later on. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I would say follow the Siddur. That's what I would say. I personally, I think that the order, like I mentioned before, I think it makes more sense to do all of this. You get up in the morning, go to the bathroom, wash your hands, say Asher Yotza. That seems to be the most natural way of doing it. But, if you're following the Siddur and the Siddur says to do it in a different order, so fine, that should be the worst thing that you ever do.
You do it after you urinate too. It's not just.
Yeah. Any kind of bathroom activity.
Does that include
Not
vomiting?
Sudokus, by the way. I mean, lots of people go to the bathroom and do Sudokus over there, but that's not what I meant when I
Does that
said
include
bathroom.
vomiting?
No. It's got to be something. It's got to be going to the bathroom in the regular fashion.
Oh.
Vomiting. There is no I would. Only if you're a college student. I imagine that perhaps the reason is that the idea of Asher Yotzar is thanking a Kodesh Baruch Hu that your body is working the way that it's supposed to work. Vomiting is certainly a way for the body to get rid of things that are bothering it inside, but it's not. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
If you have a stomach issue, you said you shouldn't say broth when you need the toilet.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be saying Ashiyatz all day.
Yeah, somebody who's suffering from shilshul. Here we're back full circle, which I guess is what shilshul does, right? Shilshul, gal, whatever,
Okay.
right? But if you suffering from shilshul, then you go to the bathroom, but you haven't really finished going to the bathroom. It's just a temporary respite, and then you're going to go back again in a few moments, whatever it is. So no, you should not be making a bracha asher yotza after every time that you come out of the bathroom. Just as an interesting tidbit of information, until when can you say Asher Yotza? So you went to the Baruch Hashem, your stomach's working fine, right? Everything is working the way that it's supposed to, and you went to the bathroom and you didn't say Asher Yotza when you came out, because obviously you are evil and wicked and are probably going to burn for eternity in hell. Failing that, you'll just stay here in the library and have to listen to me, but believe me, you'll choose hell after you've done this for a little bit. It'll be a no-brainer. Until when can you recite the bracha of Asher Yotza? So the halacha is until you need to go to the bathroom again, which means the bracha of Asher Yotza is giving thanks for the fact that you're able to relieve yourself. You're getting benefit from having been to the bathroom the whole time until you feel that you need to go again. Right at that point, once you feel you need to go again, then you've lost the opportunity to say the bracha of Asher Yotza on the previous time. The simplest thing is to put up little they probably have them in the yeshiva, like little cards next to the bathroom wall, right? So that when you come out, you see it there, and it's there straight away, and you can say it straight away.
My question: what's the time gap between you and the bathroom and saying the bracha? How much time you have?
Here, that's what I just said.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Oh. You weren't spacing out, were you?
Yeah, technically was. Sorry.
No.
Gotta be honest.
Until you need to go to the bathroom again, which means that
You can have like the whole day. You're saying?
if you don't go to the bathroom very often.
No, I'm saying you go to the bathroom. How much time you have?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You go to the bathroom. You forgot to say the bracha Asher Yotza when you came out.
Okay.
Until when can you say it? Until you need to go back again.
Okay.
Right, again, like I mentioned before, that the reason is because you're getting benefit from having been to the bathroom the whole time until you need to go again. Right, if that's the case, then you can make the bracha until then. Once you get to that, then you've lost the opportunity.
Could be a day later.
Gosh, I hope not.
No, I'm saying, but it could be. I mean,
I guess so.
There's a constipation and.
Yeah, I guess so.
So
Whatever.
So you wait till that time?
I guess so. Okay, I guess all that talk about going to the bathroom obviously sparked off a reaction from somebody.
So don't worry.
Good, I'm pleased to hear that. Just whilst we're here, of course, nobody should think of the ocean, and certainly not of waterfalls or running taps or swimming pools or oh, that's the wrong way. Oh, whatever. It's recycling. Okay, anyway, over the page, on page number 16, we're now going to leave the bathroom behind, which is a good idea if you ask me. We're going to take a look at what are now called Birkat HaTorah. Right, Birkat HaTorah are the brachas that have to be recited before you learn Torah, which means like this. That here, you mentioned if you get up in the middle of the night, and you've got your chavrusa that you go to, every day from 3 o'clock in the morning until 7, you learn straight, like you're a real starker, right? So when you get up, you're really serious about this. You'll get there, don't worry. You'll become a starker, I'm telling you. I can see you two learning together at 3 o'clock in the morning. I could see that.
I've tried it before. It's hard.
Really?
No. How about before you go to the business, What about a dream?
A dream?
Yeah.
I'm all for them. I think they're great.
No, I'm saying if you had a bad dream. And
Oh,
getting
a bad
What
dream.
is any process, anything?
Yeah, so like this. Okay, all right. Of course, you're taking yourself on a tangent, but you know what? It's an interesting place to go. A person has a dream. Now, we all dream, right?
Really.
Pardon?
Not really.
Not really. The Gemara says that anybody who doesn't dream for 7 days is somebody who is beyond redemption. So we are working on the premise that what was just said is not really a true reflection of what is, and if it is, we don't want to know, right? However, we all dream. We have good dreams. We have bad dreams. We have dreams we don't remember. We have dreams that we have only fragmentary, memories of. If a person has a bad dream, first of all, you should know that Chazal, now we're going back, this is the sages, we're going back thousands of years already, preempted Freud, and Chazal said that you dream about what you think about. As a rule, right? What people think about during the day, that's what they dream about at night. Surprise, surprise. Even though, Freud, they say Freud originated that idea, it's definitely not true. Freud was Jewish, and he probably, probably had some kind of an access to a Jewish education, and maybe that's probably where he got it from. But, which means like this, no, Alex, no. No, but we're not talking about the bathroom anymore.
That shows
You weren't thinking about submarines just now, were you?
No.
What about serving sandwiches?
That's very deep. Okay. If a person you have a bad dream, now I can't tell you what the definition of a bad dream is, because everybody's got their own bad dreams, right? Which means a bad dream might be, dreaming about the death of somebody. It might be dreaming about your mother-in-law coming to stay indefinitely. I mean, it could be anything or everything, right? But a person is disturbed by their dream. What are they supposed to do? So first of all, the emphasis is like this. Like Chazal say, you dream about what you think about. I don't think you need to be too concerned about these things. I don't think it's a bad omen. If you keep dreaming about people dropping down dead and that's what they keep doing, then maybe you do need to do something about it. But under normal circumstances, dreams don't have any real meaning whatsoever. However, if you're bothered by what you dreamt, then you should draw together. Now, this might be a little bit difficult for some of you because it requires 3 friends. It's like shocked silence over here. It's like, forget it. This is never going to happen. I'm sorry. That's what the halacha is. I didn't make this stuff up. If it was up to me, I would tell you should do it. Just do it in front of the mirror. But here,
Can they be Facebook friends, or do you have to be actual?
they have to be real friends.
Can't it also be family?
Huh?
Can't it also be family?
Yeah, 3 people you're close to. Didn't occur to me to mention family because anyone's close to their family.
Yeah.
Oh,
No
okay.
one's more important.
Yeah, I think no one's more important. That's why we respect no one. And
So what do you tell them?
what do? There's a whole thing at the back of the siddur. It's called Hatavat Chalom. You don't have to tell them what the dream was, but you draw them together, and it's a little bit long. You go through the text, and they interject from time to time, and then they say the dream will be good. The dream will be good. The dream will be good, and at the end, hopefully, that will, if it had a negative dimension to it, it will be flipped around. The sages do say that dreams, even when dreams have some kind of meaning to them, the meaning is very much dependent on the way that they're interpreted. Right, which means that the Gemara tells over stories of 2 people that had exactly the same dreams, and they go to the dream interpreter, and one of them pays him and the other one doesn't. The one who paid him got a good interpretation, and the one who didn't got a bad interpretation. And subsequently, again, it's got a lot to do with the way that they're interpreted. That's the idea, that if you go to friends and they'll tell you, no, it's good, whatever it is, it'll be good, then hopefully that's what it will be. So, for example, if anybody over here had a dream that they were, in the library listening to this class, then you should draw together 3 of your friends, and and they'll tell you, no, really, it'll be good, and hopefully you'll get moved up into the Mechina program or something, and then you won't have to do this anymore.
Aren't we in the Mechina program?
I can't remember what this is called. Is this Mechina?
Yeah, this is it.
Oh yeah, so whatever the next bit's called, Mechina Plus. I don't know. Mechina Revisited.
Are you allowed to go and sit here like your people at, like people sit around the table, they all hold hands and say,
Seance.
This is what you're going to be in the future. And all
Yes.
This kind of thing.
Yes. I used to have that. My parole officer, he used to hold my hands. He used to hold my hands. Actually, he used to handcuff them, and he used to say, "Look, this is what's going to be with you in the future." It's true. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. He told me that I would never be successful, and I would end up spending my entire life in rooms with bars on the window. And look, here I am, with pretty bars on the window, with a pretty rough clientele. And it's not been easy. No, you should not be going to seances, and you should not be using Ouija boards, and you should know.
It's that little board that you put your hand on and goes like, hey.
Yeah, well, you do it with other people, and what happens basically is that everyone's trying to push this thing in the direction they want it to go in.
Yeah.
And at some point, if you've got a lot of people trying to do this, it cracks. But
It's idolatry.
Not necessarily.
Gosh, wow. Okay.
On that note.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed to be doing any of these things. You shouldn't even be reading horoscopes, actually, which are complete nonsense. That you'll meet a tall dark stranger, which I think in horoscope in the New York area is probably pretty true. I would have thought. What?
When someone dies and you go and talk, people sit down and talk to you, and they say, I heard him speak to you. He's trying to speak to you.
You mean a therapist?
I find them hilarious to watch. They're
Yeah.
all of them on live TV.
Yeah, I mean, look, what do you want me to tell you? No, that's not. Yes.
What if you read the horoscope just for kids?
Yeah, the evidence is that you really shouldn't, actually. We shouldn't be giving any credence to these things. If you read the horoscopes just for kicks, you're giving some kind of tacit approval to what they're doing. So if you want to get your kicks, I'll be happy to help you out afterwards.
What about like Jewish astrology? It's like a real system. Right?
Jewish astrology, for sure, is something which is very, very fundamental to Jewish theology. It's something which is actually absolutely fascinating. The idea of different constellations, the idea of the stars, the idea of different what are called mazalot, the signs of the zodiac.
Then
all of these things they're very.
In that case, what's a witch in terms of if you find a witch, kill her?
It refers to black magic.
Yeah, but if
No, but here nobody's talking in Jewish astrology. No one's talking about being able to
I meant in
to
terms
foretell
of you
the future.
like zodiac's hocus pocus or something like that.
Using the zodiacs as some kind of a method to be able to say what's going to be in the future, that's definitely one of the definitions of magic, black magic, which is something which is forbidden. Using the signs of the zodiac to understand the depth of each month and the power contained inside of each month is something else altogether. And that's really where Jewish astrology, that's really where it's coming from.
So are there places where you could go figure that stuff out?
Well, first of all, there are books in English that have been written. One is called Sign of the Times, which goes through each month and explains what it is and why its symbol is what it is, and how what the innate the innate potential of each month. I'll give you a very basic example, right? In Mitzvah Hashem, next month is going to be the month of Nisan. So the rabbis explain that the month of Nisan is the month of redemption. That's why Pesach fell in Nisan. That's why the Jews were taken out of Egypt. It's not the other way round. It's not that the month of Nisan became the month of redemption because we left Egypt then, but rather because it was the month of redemption. That's why we left Egypt. Mm-hmm. Right? Which means that Nisan is the month that has the month of that's the potential of redemption. Elul is the potential of return. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is a potential of judgment, right? Utilizing these things properly and understanding them. Again, that's not foretelling the future, though. Right? We're not saying that if this happens and that happens, then this is what's going to be. That's not what it's all about.
But what about examples in the Talmud where they're like, what's her face? The wife of Potiphar had the hots for Joseph because
she saw in the stars somehow that they were going to have some kind of some kind of a descendants together, right? Which, of course, interestingly enough, the Gemara says that that's not the reason why she tried to do what she did. The reason she tried to do what she did is exactly what you said before, was that she was overwhelmed with desire for Yosef, and then she decided to justify what she was going to do through some kind of astrological computation. Again, could it be that there's some truth to what's being said? Yeah, but according to Judaism, you can't build, you can't act according to that because it's got no basis, right? So I'll give you an example. For example, you could say like this, that if tomorrow a black cat walks under a ladder, then I'm not going to leave the house.
Well, so
right? Now you can't.
breaks 2 mirrors and steps on a.
But
right? In Judaism, that has no. It's got no meaning whatsoever. It's got no importance whatsoever.
But wouldn't that be just randomly pulling stuff out of your butt rather than the example where they use mathematical computations and stuff like that?
For what?
No, what we were talking about was Potiphar's wife.
Oh, okay, fine. I mean, okay, you're looking up into the stars and you're saying, here, this is what, from what I see in the stars, this is what's going to be. First of all, it says like this. The Gemara says, Ein Mazel Yisrael, that the Jewish people, we live above and beyond the dimension of the stars, which means that there is no there is no. We're not tied down to any kind of astrological computations. Right? As Jews, we are above and beyond that, and we're able to live in a way that reflects that as well. So, for example, that famous essay from Mark Twain, which says, "Why the Jews?" And he says, all the other empires have been and gone. They've grown and they've become enormous, and then they've disappeared. And the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire and the Spanish Empire, and one after the other, they've come and they've gone. And yet the Jews are still chugging along. And the reason is because we're not tied down to any of these kind of quasi astrological dimensions. That because the stars are like this, it means that this is what's going to be.
So does that mean that in the case of the Roman Empire or any group of people who are non-Jewish, that they are defined through those astrological? There is definitely
some kind of a framework inside of which they exist, which is going to be defined by what's called mazal. Now, mazal doesn't mean luck. Mazal means some kind of a natural dimension within which people live, right? So, for example, it says that every nation has their own angel which looks after them. The Jewish people don't have an angel. God looks after the Jewish people, which means that it's a different dimension. But yeah, maybe that's part of the answer over here. That what's her name, Mrs. Potiphar, was able to see something in the stars which, in her perspective of the natural world that she lived in, the physical dimensions that she lived in, maybe it was correct what she saw. Right?
Wasn't that affecting a Jew though in terms of it? Because of course Joseph was a Jew, so she didn't guess correctly and didn't do the math correctly or whatever. But nevertheless, her thing did have to include the Jewish subject.
Yeah, so I would say let's take it even further. No, let's say she did her math correctly, which is really what Chazal. I think that's really what Chazal are trying to say. She did her math correctly, and she made her calculations properly, and she saw that her and Yosef were supposed to have children together. But what was not being taken into account is that Yosef is detached from her system. Mm-hmm. Which means she's seeing one thing, and he's coming along and saying, no, we can't do that because God says you're not supposed to do these things. Right? Which is you're in a system now which is beyond. What is interesting is that the sages do say that there is a connection, because the sages say that he ended up marrying, according to one opinion anyway, it was Potiphar's daughter. According to the other opinion, the more accepted opinion, it was Dinah, who'd been adopted by them. So it doesn't matter, right? But which means that ultimately what she saw was correct, it just wasn't accurate, right? Which means that instead of having children with her, he had children together with her daughter. Again, and that's exactly what the sages are saying, that her approach was flawed because this is what she wanted, right? Because she was so blown away by Yosef's incredible handsomeness, right? That she really didn't stop to think about whether this is right or it's not right or it could be right. She just wanted to do it. Good. What's that got to do with the bracha v'ashayotza? I don't know. The moral of the story is go to the bathroom. Here, let's have a look. Page number 16. First bracha of it. We'll try to finish up the first bracha now, with a little bit of time that we don't have available to us. And it says like this: Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Right? That we should, here it says to engross ourselves in the word of Torah. Now, the word la'asok is a fascinating word. It really is, because the word la'asok means to be busy. An esek is a business in Hebrew. A Baal Asakim is a businessman. Right? But it's a very fascinating word for the rabbis to use to describe our relationship with Torah. La'asok b'divrei Torah. What does that mean? To be busy?
Do it with Torah.
Huh?
When you keep busy, have a Torah mindset to it. And then when you run a business, do it with the mind of Torah.
Oh, very nice. Okay, that's what definitely one approach, right? Is that you should not make the mistake of thinking that there is my spiritual life and then there's my, my physical life, right? And I'm going to live the physical dimension of my life, the spiritual dimension. I'm going to go to shul and I'm going to say all these blessings, right? And then I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to my business. I'm going to lie and cheat and steal. That's okay because there's no connection between the two. No, la'asok b'divrei Torah, that even when you are within the more mundane life that you've got, it needs to reflect the Jewish dimension as well. There's a cute story about a kid who comes home from school and he says, Daddy, he says, tell me, what are business ethics? And his father says, what? Who's been telling you words like that? Where did you hear that? So the kid says, Daddy, I'm sorry, I don't know. The teacher said something about business ethics. I just wanted to know what they were, that's all. So the father stops and he says, look, it's like this. He says, an old lady comes into the store and she buys something for $10. And by mistake, she gives me a $100 note. So the question is, do I tell my partner or don't I tell my partner? La'asok b'divrei Torah means that whatever we do has to reflect our, we've got to look at everything through the prism of Torah. But there's something else over here as well, something absolutely beautiful, which is that everybody here knows that to do business, you've got to work hard, right? If you want to succeed.
Oh, so you've got to work hard and return.
Hold on a second. There's more. Hold on. Which means like this. You're working for somebody, right? And they come in and they say, listen, I need you to stay longer tonight. I'll pay you double pay, right? Or to work over the holiday season, right? The holiday season, some people get paid triple pay, right? For working over the 25th of December, right? So most people would take that. If the remuneration is enough, right? If it's attractive enough, you'll do it, right? Which means that you get paid. Let's say you get paid $10 an hour. He's telling you, I need you to work for me right now. I'll pay you $30 an hour. Will you do it? Most people would do it. If you ever run your own business, or if you've got a parent who runs their own business, you'll know just how hard these people work, right? That there are no work hours. Which means you just, if something's got to be done at 11 o'clock at night, you'll do it because it's your business. And that's what's going to make the business work, right? La'asok b'divrei Torah means that when we've got the ability, the opportunity to learn Torah, we need to grasp it in exactly the same way that we would grasp being able to work for double or triple pay. You hear what it's saying? It's not saying that you've got to learn Torah 24 hours a day. That's not what it's saying. But it's saying that within inside of your busy day, where you've got a busy schedule and you're working and you've got all the things that you're doing in your life, you've also got to dedicate time to Torah, to learning Torah in the same way that you would dedicate your time if you were being told that it was going to be lucrative enough,
Why does it say to sweeten the words of Torah? Are they sweet enough, right?
Well, in Hashem, we'll get to it because Rabbi Ullman is wandering around outside looking very unhappy. So we're going to stop over here.